It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they just got out of a limousine or just got out of jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you because that's New Orleans and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar today, we're at the fabulous Wayfare on Ferret Street, which is 2 blocks or so down from Napoleon Avenue, where they have a 3-hour happy hour here every single day of the week, and a brunch on the weekends during the happy hour, which is from 3 to 6 or 3 to 7, depending on who you talk to. Sometimes people tell me it's 3 hours, sometimes it's 4. So either way, demand half-price drinks and half-price bar food for 4 hours and see how you get on. And if it's wrong, then charge it to Shane Mutter. He'll pay for it. Shane is sitting across from me. Shane, how are you doing?
I'm doing very well.
Nice to see you here.
You too.
Shane is the, what are you, the CEO and president?
Yes.
Or president and CEO, which comes first?
Either way you want to put it.
Mostly people say president and CEO for some reason. I don't know why that is. Because is it an order of importance? Is president first and then CEO, or what comes first? Hannah, what do you think?
Go alphabetical. CEO.
That would be CEO and president.
There you go.
I'm going to look at your bio here. Oh, it says president and CEO of Doerr Furniture, which is spelled D-O-E-R-R.
Correct.
Furniture, which is a furniture sales company in New Orleans that's been here for 80 years. Correct? And how many of those years have you been there?
4.
4 out of 80?
4.
So that's been 76 years before you got there.
Yeah, well, being in the family and growing up in the family business, I really started in high school. So I was 14, 15. That would give me about 23 years of working in and out of the family business.
So at 14 or 15, that would be regarded as child labor, which would be illegal, I assume.
Right. But it was so long ago that
they don't care about that.
Right.
It's like working down the mines.
Right.
Okay. And Hannah Kreiger Benson is here as well. Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Now, you're hyphenated.
Yeah.
Is that from marriage or birth?
Nope. My parents did that to us.
Your parents did that. So if you got married to someone called Benson, like Tom Benson's son, you'd be Hannah Kreiger Benson.
You know, that's never come up. Usually it's what if you married someone else who was hyphenated?
Oh, that's another good question.
Yeah,
like who?
Well, I know a lot of people with hyphenated last names.
Do you?
Yeah. Maybe it's more common in the north, which is where I'm from. But no, that's always been the question. What the hell are you going to do when you get married? And the answer is I don't know.
So are you getting married anytime soon?
Nope.
Any plans to even anything like that? Do you have a dog?
I don't have a dog.
Are you interested in dating somebody with a dog?
This may be a different show than I thought.
Because we just met these people who've got a business called Dig, which is a dog people's dating app.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Isn't that cool?
I don't have a dog anymore. I am recently dogless.
What happened to your dog?
He... the short version is when my old roommates left my house, my dog had bonded with their dog very strongly, and we decided it was actually better for them to take both dogs.
No way, you gave your dog away.
I did, and he's much, much happier with 2 humans and his dog best friend. So
that must have been pretty hard to do, though.
It was a decision that I made for the dog and not for myself. But then they moved directly across the street. So
okay, that's not so bad.
Yeah, I get
well,
it.
You're like a really good person. Most people would just...
This has gone in a weird direction.
Already?
Yeah.
Well, we've only just got here.
I know.
That really makes you a especially good person, doesn't it? Wouldn't you think, to do something for a dog over yourself?
Well, thank you. But I mean, you know, if I'm going to have a dog, I don't want him to be miserable. Which I'm a musician. I work weird hours. I work long hours.
But most dogs are not miserable. They get over it if you're gone. They're happy when you come home.
He bonded very, very strongly with this other dog who'd been in his life for about the year before that, and
wow.
I couldn't.
What's the dog's name?
His name is Temo. T-E-M-O. T-E-M-O. Temo.
Temo.
Yep.
Is that like tempo without the P?
Exactly. And this is definitely his first time ever being mentioned on a podcast.
Really?
So it's an important day. Yeah.
Temo the dog. So after he was house trained, you could take the P out of tempo. That's a good one, right? That's a good slogan right there. Anyway, you could go on this app. It's called Dig, and it's the dog people's dating app.
I love the concept.
Isn't it great?
I love the concept.
I think so too. Yeah, but apparently, if you're on a dating app and you have a photo of yourself with a dog on it, you're regarded as 24% more sexy.
It's a really good boost.
Yeah.
I've heard those same statistics about guitars, that like your sexiness goes up about 18% if you have a guitar.
18%.
Wow.
The extra
There's a
6%
study
with
in
a dog.
France that did that.
This
yeah.
is Thomas, our tech
So
guy.
if you have a dog and a guitar, are you 42%?
One
Oh, that's a good
one in each
question.
hand, yeah.
I don't know.
I also heard if you're standing outside or if you're like hiking or something.
Yeah, if you're looking
so you
active
could take
and
your
athletic.
dog and the guitar and just
Yeah.
keep
And
adding
outside.
and adding to
And
it.
this
Now,
is
do you get points taken away though if you have a dead fish? Because a lot of people on dating apps have pictures of them with dead holding fish that they've caught.
Oh, you mean like proud of a dead fish
yeah.
that they're...
Yeah.
that is...
Which
That's true.
seems to be a selling point in some regard because a lot of people do it, so they clearly expect it to,
Right, in some cultures.
But I have personally found,
But for the right girl, maybe the dead fish is a.
I'm not
is
a
thing.
dead fish kind of girl.
It's a dead giveaway. And the other voice you're hearing is Sophie Lafayette. Hey, Sophie.
Hi.
It's good to see you again. Sophie,
good
I'll
to be
tell
back.
you guys a little bit about Sophie. Sophie was started off as a listener of ours and then came on the show, which is not that totally unusual to happen. But in this case, Sophie was a listener in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Whoa. Far away.
How about that? And that's
The
how we met.
international audience.
Yeah. Yeah, you're our only listener, I think, ever in Dar es Salaam, unless you knew someone else who listened to us.
No, but I definitely told people about the show.
Are there people over there right now listening or
I'm
watching
sure
us on
there's
Facebook?
thousands of them. It's probably the top podcast,
The top podcast in Tanzania. And then, so then you moved to New Orleans from Dar es Salaam.
Yeah, well, I've moved around a lot for work, and I work remotely. So I've been back and forth to New Orleans for a while, and
I see this in your bio that Graham DePonte, our producer, gave me about you. It says, Sophie works with community and tech organizations to improve their communications and manage projects. Mm-hmm. That sounds like drug dealer.
yeah,
me,
it's a pretty
yeah, right. What is it?
a broad description. But I work with because I work on little projects, and sort of they could be 6 months or a year, and different things at different times. So whether it's a small business or a non-profit, I just do different things. Like I might develop a website with them or work on their PR, do some project management. It's sort of, it's like a jack of all trades kind of job.
So you don't have a real gig. You're not like a software engineer or a social media manager.
No,
you're all of that.
It's fun and it's interesting, but then it becomes really hard when people say, so what do you do? And you're just like, well,
What do you say?
anything.
What do you tell them? That's what.
It kind of depends on the person. Depends how
Okay.
long I want to keep talking to the people for.
Well, that's a good thing. You can totally make it up. It doesn't have to be true.
Yeah, I guess so.
Because you've got an accent. You've got a wacky accent.
Yeah, not many people can pick up on my accent because it's
It's really messed up.
yeah, and it gets more messed up the longer I spend here too.
In New Orleans.
Yeah, because I was born in New Zealand, so I've got this New Zealand twinge. But I spent a lot of time in the UK, and then I was also living for a while in Norway, and then Tanzania, and then now
What part of New Zealand are you from?
Auckland.
From Auckland.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the suburbs of Auckland.
What suburb?
Well, it was South Auckland.
South
So,
Auckland.
yeah.
South Auckland has gone ahead now.
I hear it's improved since
It
I
has.
was
You
there.
can't even get a house at South
Yeah.
Auckland. South Auckland.
Yeah.
And that used to be like
Seems nice.
that used to be like the Slidell of
Yeah.
New Orleans, where nobody wanted to live. Basically, nothing against Slidell.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that's not true.
It took a
But-
long time to get anywhere too, and if you
Right.
had to- yeah.
Now there's motorways. There's a whole highway.
That's what I hear. Cars,
Bombay
internet,
Hills.
all kinds of things.
Yeah, they've got everything going on. I just was over there. It's amazing. When was the last time you were in New Zealand?
I haven't been back since I moved, so like
How long ago?
early 90s.
Honestly,
So-
I know people will probably tell you this, but you wouldn't recognize it. Auckland is completely
Yeah.
ruined, totally. Have you been to Destin?
No.
Since you've been to here?
No.
You guys ever go to Destin?
I've been.
Oh, yeah.
You know how Destin was ruined? That's what they've done to Auckland.
Oh,
basically.
right.
It's just overbuilt, too many people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Avoid at all costs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have a brother who lives in Nelson, so that's at the top of the South Island, and he loves it there
beautiful.
because that's where, like, when you tell people you're from New Zealand, they think like, oh, Lord of the Rings, hills, beautiful, and I'm like, Auckland's not really like that, but
But Nelson
But
is
Nelson is,
gorgeous.
so-
And that's your brother?
yeah,
He's
so
still there.
fishing and yeah,
Shane's just been fishing today.
Sure.
yeah,
Early this morning.
nice.
Yeah.
Did
Whereabouts
you
are
bring us any fish, by the way?
I didn't. You know, they were still
Still cleaning
cutting them up.
Maybe
Yeah.
he knew that you were like,
I took
oh, I
a
don't
dead
want to see those
fish photograph early this morning.
But that is
I
that is
knew
true.
we were coming together.
Don't get me wrong. I don't mind pictures of people showing off the fish that they've caught. It's just when that is used as a selling point for dating.
Yeah,
that
that's not gonna work.
I find that a
When
little
that's
bit
the first thing you want to tell people is dead fish.
Well, it's a sort of, I guess it's a good filter.
But now I was trying to remember how we got O is because my last name is hyphenated on the question of whether or not I'm married. Okay.
Oh, okay. Is that
Sorry,
how we
I'm
started
just
on
trying to
it?
recap where we've already
What
been.
dating app were you on? Are you on Match.com?
I've
Because I know a
never
lot about that too.
been on Match. I'm trying to think. How do I pivot? How do I pivot away from this conversation? I have dabbled in a couple different ones.
You know what I discovered? I learned. This is all from Out to Lunch. I found out all this by listening to Out to Lunch. Match.com is owned by a company called the Match Group that owns like 48 dating sites.
Jeez.
So they own basically, I guess it's the Amazon.com of dating. So if you're on a dating site, it's probably owned by Match.com. Not that it makes any
Like
difference.
datingfarmers.com. Or,
Is that one? Or J-Date?
Christian-
Christian Mingle?
There are,
Christian
there's
Mingle.
lots of different categories.
I wonder if they run J-Date, which is a Jewish dating thing, and Christian Mingle.
I mean,
Got to,
why not?
probably.
It would make sense.
Probably the same person is running both those,
Sure.
because it's the same deal. I
Change
guess.
the-
It's the same God, after all, isn't it?
Right.
Or isn't it?
Yeah.
Or do we not know that?
No, it is. It's just, the Judaism just doesn't have the other two parts of the Holy Trinity. That's all.
What's it got? Just God only?
Just God.
And what's...
Jesus and the Holy Spirit.
Well, Holy Spirit's only in Catholicism,
Oh,
now,
that's
isn't
true.
it?
I'm,
Isn't it?
I'm
Yeah.
Jewish, so
You're Jewish, so you don't know
ask
too
me
much.
about the Christianity side of
Sophie,
things.
have you grown up in any religion at all?
Catholicism.
Oh, you're a Catholic. Okay, so what
So
is
you've
the
got all
Holy
three.
Spirit then?
What's the Holy Spirit?
Yeah.
I don't
You
know.
only
I think
have
I've
5
blanked,
seconds to answer
blanked
that.
most of that out.
You don't remember? Shane, did you grow up Catholic here?
Catholic.
And what is the Holy Spirit?
Holy Spirit is from within, and it's
Okay. It's like a Buddhist thing.
Yeah. See, I'm not a good
I've
Catholic,
never
so
heard
I don't
a
need
good,
to be like.
Yeah.
Not very
Explaining it.
good explanation.
I've
no.
never heard a
it's short
good.
and sweet.
Yeah. Okay, so the Holy Spirit is in all of us.
Right.
It's usually
Okay.
shown as like a fire or something, kind of thing, a little flame.
So we all have that even if we're not Catholic.
Yeah.
Apparently. So you have it as well.
Apparently
Like
so.
it or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, according to Catholics.
According to Catholics.
Right.
But
Okay.
what's that amount to?
How do we get on to that?
Talking about different,
oh, thank
different
God.
dating sites.
J-Date versus Christian Mingle. Have you ever been on any of those ones? On J-Date? Do you care if you date a Jewish guy? I don't know who would give a shit about that really anymore.
Some people care very much about that.
Neo-Nazis? Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that would be
they wouldn't be.
that
into
would be-
I'm sorry.
that would be a sort of a filter as well.
Yeah, no.
Which ones have you been on? OK Cupid?
I have been on that one. I have been on
Any good-
Bumble. I have been on J-Date. although-
Bumble. I haven't ever heard about that one. What's that all about?
So Bumble.
It's a weird name.
It's kind of a silly name. The concept with Bumble is that the people that you match with, you've got to message them quickly, or else the match goes away. So it's kind of just getting rid of the kind of like just.
Isn't that the one where the women have
And women
to
have
approve
to.
it?
Have, Well, women have to write the very first
Yeah.
message, and after
Oh,
that,
it's women instigated. Mm-hmm. Really? Oh, that's an interesting idea.
So yeah, so I've spent some time on a number of them. I'm not really. I
Did
guess-
you meet anybody interesting?
I've met a number of people who've been part of my life for different amounts of time.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, no, there's some good people out there.
Huh. Okay. Shane, you're not dating anyone. You're married with kids.
That's right.
It doesn't mean you couldn't use one of those
Right.
dating sites, but you must just
Ashley
might get in.
Madison.
Ashley Madison.
There you go, yeah.
Whatever happened to all that? I forgot
I
about
have no idea, but
Jeez,
there
that was a big deal for a while.
That was a big sting.
Yeah.
There were lists produced, and then people
that?
put it on social
just
media
so-
saying,
that's-
"Oh, I found
so
somebody in the
common.
neighborhood," and yeah, it was really ugly.
Everybody knew somebody who was on it.
I was just thanking God that
Yeah,
I wasn't on the
you
list.
didn't do it. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I made some
Well, I mean,
pretty stupid mistakes, but not that
it was people who were on there by choice.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That was ugly, though.
What happened to the people who owned that website, I
They're
wonder?
still running it.
It's still
Yeah, they
going.
are.
They
You can
had like
still
a
They are.
rebrand
Probably
a little bit,
still
but they're
match.
still
It's probably
fine.
the Match.com people. They have that.
Yeah.
They probably own that too.
Yeah.
Is it Ashley Madison 2.0 or something?
I don't know. I'm not on there, so.
See, this is
the
where we
reboot.
need C-Rock. But C-Rock is not here today. And by the way, I haven't meant to tell you, Andrew Duhon is not here today, if you hadn't noticed that, because he's in Texas. But if you're listening to this and you've never even heard of Andrew Duhon, do yourself a favor and get on Spotify or anywhere else you steal music and look for Andrew Duhon. It's D-U-H-O-N, and check out his new record called False River. Have you heard it, Hannah?
I've not heard the New River, but I know Andrew. I don't know him super well, but he's a fabulous musician and a
He
lovely
is.
person. I'm sorry he's not here.
I know. Well, he's in Texas playing music. But this new record called False River is exceptional. Even though we know him and love him as a person, this is an amazing record that's hard to believe how good it is, for real. I'm not just saying that because he's paying me, although he is. But it's totally worth checking out. It's called False River. So go to Spotify or wherever you steal music and take a listen to Andrew Duhon's False River album. Hey, and you're in a band as well, Hannah. You're in a band called Well, you're in a lot of. You've got the most wacky bio of anyone I've ever
Thank
seen.
you.
It's amazing, and the stuff you do. But where should we start off with? Pat O Brien's?
Sure, that's a place, yeah.
That's amazing that you're one of the piano players.
I'm one of the piano players
at Pat O Brien's.
Yep, it's true. There are 9 of us. We are real people, which I think is sometimes sort of forgotten in the mythology around that place.
There's like a roster of 9 pianists.
There's 9 of us, yep, because it's
an
usually
odd
4
number.
people. Well, it's usually 4 people working a night. If you count it up, it's about 36 shifts a week, so that comes out to people working about 4 days a week, which is what I do.
What shift do you do?
So I do Sunday afternoons and Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights.
Wow. What time at night?
So I work 7 to 2, but it's an hour on, hour off.
It's not bad.
Really?
I love it. I really
Sunday
do.
afternoon it's probably nice. Huh?
Yeah, the Sunday afternoon can be very, very chill, very fun.
Yeah.
So you work 7 p.m. till 2 a.m.
Yep.
And then you work for an hour. You play the piano. There's 2 people playing the piano. If you've never been to Pat O Brien's and you listen to this, so you have 2 grand pianos facing each other.
They're covered in copper for no
Right.
apparent reason. But yes,
It's like the Moscow Mule type
it is.
deal. And they call it dueling pianos, but you're not actually dueling.
Correct.
They're
As far as I know,
synchronized
they
pianos.
invented the dueling piano format back in the 30s or 40s. It is known to be the first sort of dueling piano bar, but they don't do the sort of the dueling piano shtick that has become prevalent in a lot of the places around the world.
What is that exactly?
Meaning, like, people, the piano players sort of interrupting each other's songs. Like, you have if audience members give them more money, or, sort of battling back and forth with different things. We're much more sort of D-U-A-L, I guess. Dual pianos.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, so, if you and I are working together, then you play 2 songs, I play 2 songs, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. While you're playing, I'm playing underneath you to make the sound more full, and also looking up my next 2 songs on my computer. So,
Are you singing as well?
I might be singing a little bit of backup under you, but yeah, when it's my turn, I sing the songs. Yeah.
Right. So,
So-
you sing and play the piano.
Correct.
And sometimes there's a whole band there as well.
Nope.
There's never a band.
Some piano bars have that. We do not.
Just the 2 of you.
2 of us, and then we take a break after an hour, and 2 other piano players come up. So there's 4 piano players on an average night.
Okay, so on a regular Monday night, you're on Bourbon Street for an hour at Pat O Brien's with nothing to do for an hour. What do you do?
Well, break apartment. 3 of us rent a little tiny apartment in the quarter, and we split it, and that is entirely worth it to have a place to go to just cook dinner, eat dinner, watch TV, eat more food, eat ice cream,
Have some peace and quiet. Just chill out.
stare at the wall. Yeah.
So you go home for an hour, and then you go back to Pat O's.
And so it's like around the corner. Nobody lives there. It's just this
Just a hang,
and
like
it's
a-
tiny, tiny, tiny. So
It's like an opium den type
exactly like that. Yeah.
situation.
Yep.
And what's the opium deal there? So are you allowed to drink on the job? 'Cause everyone else is drunk except you, I'm assuming.
Well, Pat O's piano players are not supposed to drink in Pat O's.
Right, but everyone else is drunk except the piano player.
Correct. And what we do on our break hours is very much it's our own time. And obviously, it's the kind of job where you need to be on your game. You're sort of in
You
charge
wouldn't
of a
want
room.
to be too fucked up there at Pat O Brien's playing the piano.
No, you would not.
For all those
I've
people.
heard stories about back in the day that was sometimes a problem, 50 years ago. But no, in general, I work with a lot of people who are
How long have they had those
responsible and
dueling pianos there?
since the 40s, I think.
When did Doerr Furniture start?
1938.
So about the same time.
But
Yeah.
Pat O's opened in 1933.
It did.
And I know this is an auditory format, so you can't see me, but I'm making air quotes. It opened the day after Prohibition ended.
Oh. Wow.
As in, like, all
So
of a
it
sudden,
was-
they're like, hey, look what we...
Hey,
all
we
of a
happen to have a whole
we
bar
happen to
just
have this
sitting
whole
here in
bar, yeah.
mothballs.
Which I only know because their 80th anniversary, it was sort of on my mental calendar, because I think I was, like, working an extra shift that day or something, and the day before was the 80th anniversary of the end of Prohibition, and I was like, wait a minute.
Hello.
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
That's pretty interesting.
There was something to do with Pat back in the day, and I don't know if y'all know this, but he had a house that he built in the 60s or 70s up in north of Covington, off of Lee Road. And when we moved up there in the early 80s, one of my first close friends was his granddaughter, Kara Jenkins. And it was weird, but I didn't know that until I got to be a high schooler. And I said, wait a minute, I was friends with Pat O Brien's granddaughter.
But
And we went to school together. We went to Lee Road, and then St. Peter's, and then
That's
I
so
went to St.
crazy.
Paul's, and she went to St. Scholastica.
I don't know all of the... Pat O's history is
Oh, yeah, it's wild.
there's a lot, but the current owner is Shelley Wagisback, who I believe is the granddaughter of I guess maybe the other original owner. Her grandfather may have been, because there was two.
And
owners.
there was the Oshner family that bought Pat O's
Right,
when
that's
he was
Shelley's.
dying. Actually, he
That's
was.
Shelley's family. Her married name is Ray Expect, but her maiden name is Oshner.
Oh, okay.
yeah,
So
that's
she's from
right.
that family.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
when-
somebody should write a book about that place.
when
'cause
he
there's-
You could write it. You've got spare
you've
time.
got
You've got an
plans.
hour off every hour.
True. What am I doing with my time?
You could take your laptop up to your little hangout there.
Sometimes do.
What street is it on, your little hangout?
It's on Dauphine, so it's just around the corner. You just-
Wow.
You do have to cross Bourbon Street eight times a night, and you kind of just get used to that. And
Where do you live normally when you're not?
Mid-city.
Mid-city. So
Yep.
you go in there for the night, and you don't sleep there. Though at 2 o'clock you go home.
yeah, every once in a while I'll sleep there if I need to be in the quarter early for some particular reason, but it's pretty rare.
How long have you been doing this lifestyle?
5 years last month.
How did you get this job? Did you have to audition for it?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, I did, but it was a friend of mine named Amy Trail, who's a fabulous musician, also a great songwriter. She's played there for, I guess, 14 years, I think. I know since before the storm, since she was quite young, like in her early 20s. Anyway, she and I were in a band together, and she knew that one of the older piano players was going to retire, because, they don't hire that often. It's only when
Right.
someone is ending their career, and so she sort of nudged me.
So people don't quit?
Oh, I mean,
People are in there for life.
sometimes. I mean, sometimes people will just stay for a little bit, but
It's like the Supreme Court.
Supreme
There's
Court
9 of
status.
you. Yeah. There's 9 of you,
appointed.
and nobody.
oh, I never thought about that.
You are.
Do they don't fire anyone?
Oh, I mean, occasionally, but it's a very, very solid job compared to a lot of jobs in music. We get benefits.
So
wow.
you're wow. Who
And
does
so-
that?
Clarence Thomas of the Pat O Brien's
Who
piano.
is the Clarence Thomas? What a fabulous and bizarre question.
That's Thomas himself.
All right. Yeah. No. So people will stay in that job for decades and decades, and
Are you
but
the youngest hire?
I am
at
the
5
youngest.
years?
I'm not the most recent, although I am the youngest. There are two who've been there a little bit less than me. One of them, there's a woman who only stayed for about a year, so we hired somebody and then rehired a year later. But yeah, I mean, Pat O's, because people stay forever, 5 years, I'm still considered very much a
Right. And
new.
what sort of music are you playing? Are you playing the same old, like,
We will play any song ever. And again, that is in quotes.
do you have to be able to play
What's the
anything
most
by ear?
overrated song that you have to play regularly? Like, what are you sick of playing at this point?
Got to be
Ah,
Elton John.
let's have a vote. Let's see if we can guess.
I'm going with Elton John.
Elton John?
We do play, Elton John songs, multiple times an hour for sure.
Multiple times an hour.
I would imagine
dear,
Piano
dear.
Man by Billy Joel.
Yeah.
gets
Ah,
up there.
Piano Man, that's
We
a
won't
good
play
guess.
anything more than once an hour. So like Piano Man, we might do it once an hour, but it won't be more than that. If somebody brings it up, we're like, oh, we just did this. You gotta wait. A phenomenon that I did not expect when I started there is muscle memory. And the fact that certain songs become so familiar that I tune out completely and I'm singing to a room full of people while I'm like making a grocery list or like having an argument in my head with somebody. It's so weird.
That's fantastic.
It's so weird. So I think that also kind of keeps me from hating certain songs because I'm just not there. Sweet Caroline can get annoying because people get rowdy and they yell and they want to stand on the chairs and you have to tell them not to.
You're in charge of that. There's not a security person who tells.
No, if somebody needs to get thrown out, the management will deal with that. But we're the ones who sort of keep an eye on it.
Oh, wow.
So-
Sweet Caroline is one of the songs you hate and you don't even just play without thinking.
I don't necessarily hate it,
That's
but
Neil Diamond?
Yeah, I don't necessarily hate it, but it can. There's times when it can get a little old. I don't really hate that much.
But are you supposed to be able to play anything if someone yells out one of those?
There's no yelling. There's writing on napkins. That's
That's how they do it?
Yep, you
You
gotta-
write it on a napkin and you bring it over to the piano. Have you been there, Sophie?
Yeah, I've been there. Not when there's the piano, but I don't remember the piano.
Pat O's. Pat O's is the whole inside of that block.
Yeah,
so there's
yeah.
the courtyard, there's the main bar, there's the whole restaurant,
Yeah.
and the piano
Shane,
bars
do
on
you
the
ever
side.
go down Bourbon Street?
Not very often. Only when I have somebody in town that's,
Yeah, right.
actually last week was the first time in a while.
Who was here?
I had a manufacturer in town, and we went out, and
What do people think in the furniture business when they come here? They think that's crazy, or
what's funny is I gauge somebody's real interest in New Orleans by whether or not they say, oh, can we go to Bourbon Street or can we go to Frenchman Street? Because Frenchman Street apparently is taking off outside of, these boundaries. And
so you have to go there as well.
yeah,
So that tells you immediately.
And that's
who
in my
you're dealing
backyard.
with.
I mean, that's the back of our store is Frenchman Street.
yeah.
So I'm so used to being there all the time and kind of watched as things have kind of,
Well, it sure has changed.
Yeah.
Frenchman Street is like South Auckland now.
it's gotten pretty
Nobody
wild.
used to be down there. It's kind of
Yeah.
like Bourbon Street
Yeah.
now, in a way.
I'll tell you what, it's helped my friend's business. Ed owns Electric Ladyland, the tattoo place.
Oh, it's picked that up.
Yeah, and
There's a lot of walk-in.
He's doing great. So I'm really happy for him. But
Have
I
you
mean,
got any
it's
tattoos?
changed something. No, I don't. No.
He's not going to give you. He'd give you a free one.
No, I don't. You know,
Well,
he'd give me his
cut
cost,
rate.
right?
What would you get tattooed if you're going to get one?
It would have to do something with either my wife or my kids, my family, something. It would have something to some involvement with them. Yeah.
Like a
I don't know.
wreath with their faces
I've never
on.
really thought about it.
This is the time to do it.
No.
Right
Have a
now.
couple of drinks and we'll go down
Right
to
now?
Right now?
We'll go down to Electric Ladyland. We'll all get tattoos. Do you have any tattoos, Sophie?
I do. I have one tattoo.
I don't see any. It's not visible. Where is it?
No, it's on my chest.
It's on your chest. What does it say?
Well, it's in Farsi, but it translates to "This too shall pass."
Wow.
This too shall pass in Farsi. What is that? It's a language, I assume.
Yeah, it's Persian from Iran.
Do you speak that?
No, I don't. But I didn't want to get
How do you know
anything.
that's what it says then?
Because I've asked many Iranian friends, so
They've seen your chest?
Hopefully, they're like, just under there.
How do these
Ribs.
Iranians get to see your chest?
Well, they saw the script before it was on my chest.
I
I
see.
checked
You
it
checked it.
before
Good
it was
thinking.
tattooed
Good
on.
thinking. So you wouldn't do it.
I
You
didn't
didn't
do
do
it
one
afterwards,
drunken
and
night
then-
in Tehran or something.
No. It was I kind of always wanted to get a tattoo, but I didn't want to get something that was just like for the sake of it.
Right.
And
Right.
again, I didn't want to get it somewhere where you would see it and look kind of, I wanted to be able to be a bit more flexible.
So it's just for you.
Yeah, it's just for me. And
It's like lingerie.
yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Similar, right? Do you have any tattoos, Helen?
I do not.
Hannah? I mean, Helen, where'd that come from?
People,
don't have any-
people often call me Helen or Heather. I don't quite know why, but anyways.
Really? Do they? I wonder why that is. My Hannah's perhaps a bit more unusual of a name.
I guess.
Helen and Heather are more common.
I have no tattoos. I have thought for years that if and when I leave New Orleans, I would consider getting something that sort of references my time here, because this is the only place I've lived as an adult. Moved here when I was 22.
You moved here after you graduated from school?
Yeah,
You came straight here and you haven't left.
correct.
Well,
I moved
there's
here
no reason
for
to
a
leave,
year in
really.
2007, so whoops.
But there's
Yeah.
no reason to leave here.
Well, I
What-
mean, there's any number of reasons to leave, but so
what
far
would
the
they be?
reasons...
Where could you go that's any different and better? I mean, not different.
Well, I mean, anything from a job or grad school or just, sort of feeling the vibe of a different place. But so far for me, the reasons to stay have outweighed the reasons to go, so I'm still here.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't want to go back to grad school, would you?
No, I have an unfinished master's from Tulane, and one unfinished master's is enough for me. So,
That's right. Why, could you finish that at Tulane?
I could conceivably finish it, but I have no interest in it. It sort of...
You have an hour every night to study.
You have a lot of plans for my off hours at night.
You
I
gotta
need to
write
listen,
a
I'm
book.
writing a book and a thesis.
And you're-
And dating.
And dating.
And dating. Well, you must meet a lot of people, though, at Pat O's, don't you?
I mean,
Or
all
don't-
sorts of people. Yeah.
can you have a real conversation with someone there? Have you met anyone interesting who you've ever seen again?
I mean, there are people who are regulars who come back, a couple times a year for work or something, or they'll
Right.
come back and say, oh, we were here 2 years ago, and I'll sometimes be able to call them to memory, and it's always nice to see people if they come
You
back.
can actually remember people.
I have a good memory for names and faces, which has come in handy in many contexts, but also in this job.
That is handy. Okay.
Although my memory for names and faces is getting worse, I suspect, because my brain is crammed full of pop songs and things.
Or at least you can tune them out, some of them now. Make room for more.
Trying to.
Do you have to know the lyrics to these songs, or are they on your...
Internet, computer,
So you're just right in front of you?
yeah.
Well, thank God for that.
Do you have to sing "Don't Stop Believing" all the time?
Don't stop believing. How does that...
My hat goes off too for that one for sure.
What about Lady
God
in Red?
bless
Is that popular?
No, that one comes up probably every couple months.
That's all?
Yeah.
That's not so bad. So you have
Any Randy Newman songs?
to... Hey, look.
Every now and then. I mean, that's one that, I sort of wish people would ask for more of those. They're
Yeah.
great. So, yeah, we a couple different songs by him that come up, again, every month.
Louisiana and
Louisiana, Short
Typical.
People.
Right.
Think about it.
So, Shane, you played music when you were in high school.
oh yeah,
I have it right here in
First
front of
grade,
me.
second grade,
piano,
third grade.
Piano, saxophone, and guitar.
yeah. When I stopped playing is when I met my my wife in high school, and I just kind of gave it up. 'cause
You met your wife. She wasn't your wife then, but you started dating in high school.
Started dating in high school.
So you replaced music with
Yeah, with
well, I hate to
something,
say-
for
something-
me more brilliant. Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
Wow, what high school was this?
Well, I went to St. Paul's in Covington, and she went to St. Scholastic right down the street. So
God, that's amazing.
we
You don't hear that
were
story.
we met when we were 14, but we started dating when we were 15.
Wow.
And then, the music went away. The sports went away.
Well, because the only reason you play music is so you can actually, get some good-looking girl to look at you.
Maybe that's it.
So you didn't need that after you were 15. Yeah.
That's it.
You could give up the guitar immediately.
Yeah.
So you stayed married that whole time. Have you been dating all that time, or did you take a break and go to college and date other
We went to
people?
college together. We got married.
Wow.
Actually, we started on a November 9th dating, and then every year after that, for some reason, we started going to the Palace Cafe. My parents took us there for our 1-year anniversary in high school. And every year on the November 9th date, we go back to the Palace Cafe.
Has that gone off, or is it still?
And it had to go off because eventually Katrina came and wiped that out. But I proposed to her there, upstairs in the window on November 9th on a Friday night.
Wow.
And then a year later, we actually missed our date there because we were getting married on a Saturday night that same night.
Oh my goodness!
So, and then Katrina came, and then things changed that year because it was November's right after Katrina.
Right, we weren't here, I don't think.
So we took off that year, and then the year after that as well. But then we picked it back up again. So.
And so, what's it like? Because I used to go to Palace Cafe. It was a place I would take people when they came here.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it was casual, and yet it's like down on the edge of the quarter, and.
Yeah,
no. I stopped going there. Is it still good? Or
what? It's still very good.
Still very good, huh?
Right after Hurricane Katrina, it did change a little bit, just because it was hard to find, I guess, people that were, just the whole industry changed.
Right.
It was hard to find people.
Well, talking of change, people say that if you stay with somebody like this for a long time, that you grow apart, that you change and that she changes.
You do change. Oh yeah.
Have you noticed?
Like waves, every 5 years,
right? Things
change.
They do.
And it's hard to keep things together, but
how do you deal with that?
You prioritize what's more important. You see other people in your life that go through those changes and then split apart, and then the after effects of that.
But it would be very handy for everyone listening and us here at the table if you could tell us, how do you actually get through that 5-year cycle, that bad part, and stay together?
You forgive.
That's what it is, forgiveness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you forgive. If you get in a fight and, usually you're in the heat of the moment or there's some alcohol involved, yelling and screaming and anything else, but you wake up the next morning, and if you're still mad, you need to talk about it. And if you're not, then you need to still talk about it, but then apologize or do what you need to do to really rectify and make it right. But you're going to get in so many fights, so many arguments, so many situations that come through the years that if you look back on them, they're really all so small. And big picture, you have to just think big picture. And do you really love that person? Do you really love that person?
Well, that's a good question.
So you got to look deep down inside. But for me and for my wife, that is that way. So it's pretty cool.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
Sophie, what's your situation? Are you dating anybody, or are you single, or what?
I am dating someone.
Somebody here in New Orleans?
Someone here in New Orleans.
Well, that makes it a lot easier.
It does.
Did you just meet them, or were they here the whole time you've been in Scotland?
I met them pretty soon after I came here for the first time, actually. And we've been together pretty much for 2 years. So.
Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because you've been gone for a year of that.
Yeah, there was a little break in there.
That works out great. Yeah.
So.
What were you doing in Scotland, actually?
Well, I was. My family's up in Scotland, so I was seeing them. It was a good place. A lot of my stuff is still in Scotland. Because the problem with moving around and being remotely is you don't really have one house somewhere. So picked up stuff. Yeah, so family, and again, I can work anywhere. So I was just kind of based there.
What are you working on now?
At the moment, I'm working on some data projects. Trying to get public local government data to
here.
Not here, but I've been doing that kind of stuff for a while. So it's with an NGO that I'm doing it with.
Right, but nothing to do with New Orleans at all.
No, I mean I'm interested in what's going on in New Orleans, and I've been kind of
I'm
talking to people.
sure there's a lot of people interested in local government data here. If you could get your hands on it, it would be fascinating.
Well, they do have some stuff. They have an open data portal and stuff, but it's actually making that data useful to people or people knowing about it. And the police data is kind of more and more getting accessible to people.
That's interesting.
Where is your project based? Where is your project based currently?
I'm working with people in the UK at the moment.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Very cool.
Do you get paid a lot of money?
Not really.
Not really?
It depends. Like some projects will pay a lot, but usually not very much.
It's not one of these like $85 an hour, $100 an hour type.
No. Because it's the thing. It kind of sounds like I'm a consultant, but
Yeah.
it's not like consultant pay.
I thought you might be wealthy on top of everything.
Unfortunately not. And often the projects, because they're sort of funding base, they're like often delayed because they're waiting on money to come in or something. So that's always fun.
But you're not, yeah, we're going to start up
we'll
as
pay
soon
you
as we
when
get
we
the
get
money.
paid.
Yeah, right.
Kind of thing. Yeah.
But you're not writing grants. You don't have to apply for money.
No, I don't do anything like that.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
So what's your background exactly in?
Well, when I first went to Tanzania, I was working in the publishing industry. So I've done a lot of like editing and writing. So it's again kind of a communications type thing, which is like when I was in Tanzania, that's when I sort of transitioned to doing all these like different projects. Because there it's a place where there's so many different things to work on and not enough people to like...
It's a weird sentence to say when I went to Tanzania. Why did you go to Tanzania?
Well, I'd been there. I went there with a guy who was from there, but I'd been there a couple times before.
That's what did it.
And I did my master's research there as well. So I had a couple of reasons. It wasn't just a guy.
Did you finish your master's?
Yes, I did.
That's an inspiration for you right there, Hannah.
So, but it was in the UK, so they make you do it in a year. So
Really?
It's like, yeah.
What's the subject?
Technically it's diplomacy, but I did it on women's human rights.
Women's human rights?
In Tanzania, yeah.
In Tanzania?
Yeah.
Do you guys know anything about Tanzania?
Not nearly enough.
Do you know anything, Shane?
The
I
only
don't
thing
know.
that I know is one of my close friends from high school went into the Marines, and he was there for several years.
Yeah,
but that was
they have a
about
good
it.
Marine base there. They have good
Yeah.
parties.
Some
and
interesting
stuff, yeah.
people over there on the North Shore.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Meet the love of your life at 15. You meet the person who was granddaughter of Pat O Brien's, and now a guy who went to Tanzania in the Marines. And we've only been here a half hour.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
we'd be here for several more.
Who else is over there on the North Shore? You don't think of the North Shore very much if you're living in New Orleans.
No,
It's sort of like across some distant.
One of the guys that I was with this morning. We just had a conversation, and who do you know? Blah blah blah. I'm friends with so and so, and next thing you know, he says, "Oh well, I'm really close with the people that started Blunt Rap." And
Blunt Rap.
Yeah.
I know of this.
Yes.
I know people who know them. Yes.
I know that guy too.
And so they're
Sinclair
all in
boys.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. So I live 3 blocks away from one of the Sinclairs that runs one of the restaurants, and
Okay.
on
Danny.
the lakefront, Cayman,
Okay.
and his brother Danny.
Yeah.
And then there's Lisa,
Yes.
and then there's Mr. Claymont, and so they're all like.
So they're still going. I haven't seen those guys in years.
Oh, they're still going strong. Yeah.
And they're still making blunt wrap.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So the deal was
Cigars and
it was
who
Danny's
knows?
original idea, I think, wasn't
That's
it?
right,
He
yeah.
went down to Mexico
Right.
and bought cigar wrapping paper, whatever that's called. What is that? Leaves, I guess. It's
Yeah.
tobacco.
Yeah.
Cigar tobacco leaves.
Yeah.
And then brought them back here as tubes that you could shove pot into.
That's right.
And that seemed like a crazy idea at the time to me. Wouldn't you think? And if someone told you they were going to do that, maybe now that in Colorado and Washington and so on,
Yeah,
that's legal.
we've evolved so much now.
It has context now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the time, this was like 20 years ago.
Right.
And they've made a business out of that whole thing.
A very good business. Yeah.
Some people are visionaries.
Isn't that
right.
crazy? So it's a hollow cigar tube
That's right.
that you're supposed to shove. But it's at the time even I thought I don't even have that much pot, just to make like even one. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's a lot of pot you have to shove in there.
Yeah. Yeah. No. It
But
is.
there's apparently plenty of people around here, enough for these guys to make a living and a real business out of it.
Right.
For all these years.
All over.
Maybe we need to get them on the show here.
Oh yeah. Or
Good luck.
Cayman. Talk about all of his. He's heavily involved now with all the movie industry and catering, and you see his trucks out on the road all the time.
Well, he had that awesome. He's a really great caterer. Actually.
Oh, yeah.
And he had that great restaurant on the North Shore. What was that?
The Lake
called?
House.
The Lake House.
It's
He's
currently
really. I've
in
been
operation.
to a couple of weddings and stuff that he's catered.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
What's the name of his company?
I don't know the name or if it's a
Right.
holding company, but I know it's the Lake House. It's right on the
He
lakefront.
still has that restaurant.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, so
Yeah.
they just cater out of that restaurant. I thought he had a
Yeah.
private catering thing. Hey, listen, I just have to stop for a moment and mention a couple of people, including Basics Swim and Gym, where you can get a full range of fashion swimsuits, workout, and yoga clothes with style. Do anybody here do yoga?
Occasionally.
Hannah, you do?
Occasionally.
You do it in the hour off as well as writing
No,
your book,
I'm too busy writing
doing
books.
your thesis and
Don't have
dating? Sophie, are you a yoga person?
Not really.
Not really?
No, I'm more of a high energy working out person.
Oh, really? Yoga's
Yoga's
a
I
bit
get
more.
too bored doing yoga.
Yeah.
But I could wear some yoga pants.
What do you do?
I do
Cycling?
I do
Spinning?
something called body combat, which is like combining like aerobics with like martial arts moves.
Everybody leans right back. Buddy,
But
I'm
like
leaning toward you. I
it's
think that sounds
everyone's
awesome.
doing it like individually, so there's no like hands-on, but it's like super high energy and it's fun. It's
see if you can do that accent. Super high energy.
super high energy.
Super high energy. Can you do
I
that,
can't.
Shane?
Super
I
high
have a,
energy.
Pretty good. Can you do it?
I have a really good ear for accents and dialects, because I'm
Okay.
very auditory, but I cannot capture Sophie's accent. It
It's
is
really all over the
beautifully,
place, isn't it?
fabulously
I try
varied.
and tone the New Zealand accent down.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, let it.
'cause
Why?
Let it fly.
No,
Yeah,
well, this is
that's
when
the
I
one
was
to
a
be proud
child.
of.
It was a lot more like over the top and
Kiwi,
more
mate.
Kiwi, yeah. It was not great. I didn't think my mom
You didn't
enjoyed
like
it that much.
Now it's very in to have a Kiwi accent in New Zealand. It used to be
Yeah.
really out. Now it's like,
No, it's the trendy thing.
yeah, now everybody wants to sound like real Kiwi. You ever listen to the radio in New Zealand still, like from here?
No, I don't follow a ton of stuff in New Zealand.
Ah, it's
to be
pretty
honest.
interesting.
But I probably from the sounds of it, I should check in.
You definitely should. And everyone's
What's
accent
going
has
on?
gone super Kiwi now.
Yeah.
So you'll be back in again. So you can't do her accent at all, Hannah.
I mean, I could try,
Give
but
it a shot.
I'm loving the subtleties
Try
of
reading Basic Swim and Gym in
it. Basic.
Sophie's accent.
Basic.
Yeah, okay, give it a
There's
go.
like
Do the whole
Basic
thing.
swim and gym.
Oh, that sounds pretty good.
Not
Thank you.
bad.
Kev, you do the whole thing though. We need a whole paragraph.
Oh, no, that's really,
I'm gonna say no, but thank you for asking.
You couldn't pull that off
that's
the whole
the
paragraph.
right answer, by the way.
Okay, all right. Well, I'll do it. Well, why don't you do it, Sophie, in your own accent?
In my own accent.
Yeah,
In my own
do
accent.
that
Do it in
basic.
Grant's accent.
Yeah.
Okay, Basic Swim and Gym, a full range of fashion swimsuits, workout, and yoga clothes with style. Bikinis, one-piece cover-ups, and everything you need for beach and poolside is at Basic Swim and Gym, right next to the lingerie store, Basics underneath on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Excellent.
Shane, you want to do one?
Yeah, I think that was
Okay.
a pretty good interpretation of her accent.
You think I got it pretty
I think you
authentic?
nailed it, actually.
Okay, Shane, what sort of accent can you do?
I really can't do too many accents.
You just have to do it straight.
Already. Yeah, can I just
You
straight
do
up?
it straight.
All
Okay,
right,
do
all right.
Hangover Destroyer.
By Hangover Destroyer, the only all-natural product medically proven to prevent a hangover. Go to the Hangover Destroyer website, HDESTROYER.com. Write happy hour in the coupon code and get 30% off. Hangover Destroyer and seize the dawn.
Very nice. Okay, that was pretty good. Hannah, you want to do one?
Sure.
Okay, Louisiana legs. I think there's a typo in that one, which I manage to read over each week and never correct.
Fair enough. I'm trying to decide if I want to try to do it in an accent.
Yes, absolutely.
I was thinking try to do it in my native Boston accent, which I don't have, but
that
that's
would
where
be
I'm from.
interesting. Okay.
But that accent is no.
Which one would you like to try next? Then?
So, the last of these happy hour is brought to us today by Louisiana Legs workout and yoga clothes with designs that incorporate photographic art like Mardi Gras beads, boiled crawfish, wrought iron from France, and caves in China. You can find Louisiana Legs on Facebook and Instagram, and you can buy Louisiana Legs on Etsy.
Pretty good. Was there a typo in there that you
Yes,
had to...
there is.
Yeah. I don't know where it is. Where is it somewhere?
there.
Yeah. Facebooker.
So this is funny because I have
Yeah.
accidentally spent a decent amount of time today reading radio spots. I was on OZ earlier to talk about an upcoming show, and while we were there, they had us do an OZ ID spot, and then I ended up doing an extra one for an upcoming thing. So I have now spent like
Wow. This is a big day.
a strangely large chunk of my day reading things for
radio.
auditory consumption, which makes me feel like I doing it makes me feel like I've forgotten how to say words. Like you try to read something knowing that people are going to listen to it, and anyway, so that's.
You have a
yeah.
nice voice too,
Thank you.
don't you think, guys?
I
I
totally agree.
Yeah.
can't take much credit for it. It's kind of it just
Well,
is.
just the way it is.
Yeah.
Hey, so we should talk about that gig that you've
Sure.
got coming up. First of all, thank you to our Patreon subscribers. If you want to be a part of the Happy Hour family, you can go to patreon.com and search for It's New Orleans Happy Hour, and for as little as $1 a month, you can be a part of our Happy Hour family. And there's all kinds of benefits for that, which you can find out from including being on the show, actually, for $1. It's a pretty good deal.
A dollar, as they'd say
How
in
do you
Boston.
say it?
Dollar.
How do you say that?
Dollar.
Dollar.
Yeah. They put it way up in your nose.
Dollar.
Dollar.
Well, that's a tough accent to get. Okay, so this gig that you've got coming up is this coming Sunday, right?
It is.
I know all about it. And it's at the Preservation Hall.
It is at Preservation Hall. So
Close to Pat O Brien's.
very close. They share a wall. I often apologize to the staff at Pres Hall for if they can hear me through the wall.
Can they?
So the gig on Sunday, it's something that I've been the music director for, and that's the capacity that I'm sort of excited about it in. Somebody named Monique Pyle, who works for Positive Vibrations Foundation, she had this idea this year, speaking of sort of visionary thinking, for Bayou Boogaloo to carve out some space on one stage for an afternoon/evening for all women. Not a common thing.
Right.
So
all women music.
Yep. So she looped in two local women who are both musicians, at least part-time, named Daria Zurich and Catherine Rose Wood, who then looped in me and a woman named Ashley Trabankere, who has been my friend and counterpart in a lot of projects over the years. And Ashley and I were then asked to sort of music direct and curate this. And what we came up with was, one, having a set by the Pinettes Brass Band, who is a local band that is all women, but the other set was a band that we invented for this purpose. Now, this didn't exist, so this was a lot of work, but we ended up with a 16-woman band.
16?
That's what I said. Although not everyone on stage at the same time, because 6 of them are songwriters who are contributing songs to it, so they kind of switch in and out, although they sometimes do backing vocals for each other. So it's this band playing songs by 6 different women, so it's this 90-minute, just ridiculously badass set that we put together, and then it got rained out so hard on the Friday of Bayou Boogaloo. You may remember that there was a
giant storm
seeming a mini sort of
right.
tornado or something.
That's fun.
I live very close to the bayou. I'm in mid-city, and so I was flooded into the house for a number of hours, just sort of going progressively crazier and eating all the snacks I could get my hands on. It was a hot mess. Anyways, so because that didn't happen after this just ridiculous amount of work, there had been something like 10 rehearsals up to that point, not everybody all together, but, horn section, this and that.
Wow.
I'd met with different people
and
individually.
There's 16 people in the band, and they're all original songs.
They're all original songs by these 6 different songwriters,
Okay.
including actually someone who I mentioned before, Amy Trail, who works at Pat O Brien's with me. She's a fabulous songwriter. She's one of the featured songwriters as well. So we decided then to mount this show at Preservation Hall. Now, Ashley, who I mentioned as my co-director, my co-music director, she works at Preservation Hall. She's their foundation, the Pres Hall Foundation Director of Programming. She's an amazing, amazing, badass powerhouse of a human being. Anyway, so she was able to wrangle it so that we can mount this show this Sunday. So I'm just excited for it to...
Okay, so that's, in case you're listening to this, and it's, what date will it be? Sunday the...
10th.
The 10th of June, 2018.
That is, yes.
Okay, so what time is it? It's a daytime gig.
1 p.m.
It's 1 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, so even if you're hungover,
Even if you're hungover,
you
yes.
could go to Pat O's. Is Pat O's open at 1 p.m.? I'm sure it is.
It is when they have normally it is not. They have nighttime shows, which is why they can do special shows during the daytime, which they do sometimes, depending on,
But is the bar open? If you want to get a drink at Pat O Brien's?
Well, Pat O Brien's is always open.
Yeah, but not the piano.
Yeah, on Sunday, yes, it will be.
Can you take drinks into Preservation Hall?
You can bring stuff in, maybe only in closed containers. I'm wary of giving advice about Pres Hall that may or may not be true. I do know that it's very kid-friendly, though. So, and obviously, this project grew out of a lot of discussions around representation. And why would a festival carve out space for women to be all women on one stage for an afternoon and evening? That's that has to do with sort of what people see on a stage. And we had a lot of discussions about representation and sort of curating this in a way and making sure that the band contains a lot of diversity in a lot of different senses of the word. Women ranging from their 20s to their 50s and all this stuff. So you're the music director. You were the co-music director of it. Yes. So I ended up handling more of the music directing, and Ashley ended up handling more of the sort of technical specs.
And what's the wrangling been like? Have there been everyone just goes along with your ideas? Are you arranging all this stuff as well?
Yes, people have gone along with my ideas, partly because it's
16 people.
It's because it was not sort of run as a democracy. It was
Right. So
it was
you're
very
just
much done as
telling
like,
them what to do.
well, yeah, this is what we need to do. We have, the songwriters are presenting the songs. The forms are usually kind of left up to them. And then it's been, just we need to learn this material, and that's,
Did anybody film any of this?
the
These rehearsals?
I mean, little snippets here and there.
That'd be pretty fascinating, I would think.
I've got a few. I'm really bad about sort of social media stuff. I tried to get a couple. It's been enormously fun. These are all women who are just phenomenal, awesome people, and I've liked seeing the connections grow. People who didn't know each other before, now they do.
So the name of the band is NOBABE. Who came up with that? Some marketing person?
Some guy.
Yeah.
Some gal. In one of the early meetings, I don't remember exactly who said it. I think it might have been Ashley. It stands for New Orleans Badass Bitch Experience, if we're being totally honest. But that part we don't publicize all the time.
Don't we?
No, not necessarily.
I can imagine you can't put it on
Right.
all the
But I'm
posters.
saying it here.
We could totally put it on this show if we wanted to give, because we have
New
to come
Orleans
up with a
Badass.
name for this show every week.
Today?
Yeah, for today's episode. What if we called this New Orleans Badass Bitch Experience?
I mean,
How could we go wrong with that? As long as nobody sues us, you're not going to sue us, right? Who owns that name?
And two guys.
hey, you guys can be badass bitches.
I
right.
love it.
You carry on.
You got the spirit of it. So.
Yeah.
Badass Bitch Experience.
Yeah, so I mean, the other sort of
Okay.
hidden meaning, or not as obvious meaning, is no babe, in the sense of a lot of times women on a stage are there in some pretty tightly prescribed roles. They're there to sing. They're there often to be sort of
Sort of an eye candy type role, you mean?
visually.
Shake a tambourine
Right.
or something.
Yep. All of which,
Shake tambourine.
can take an enormous amount. I mean, playing the tambourine is underratedly incredibly difficult. But the idea that, this is not, no babes. This is not sort of that. This is a band of, we've been referring to it as a band of awesome musicians who all happen to be women. And again, with representation for young, either, for young girls or for women to kind of see themselves reflected on a stage, that's super valuable.
Yeah.
Or for, for men, for young boys to see, an image of people playing music that may not be exactly what's in their head. Because, if you've got a bunch of, say, young male musicians and they see this and all of a sudden it's helping to shift sort of exactly, what they think of when they think about musicians, and maybe next time they need a bass player, they'll call Jessica Wright instead of,
So, George Porter. Okay, so
well, if you call George Porter, no one can fault you for that. Let's be fair.
1 o'clock on Sunday, the something or other 10th of
10th.
June.
10th this weekend.
And how long is this gig? If I don't get there at 1 o'clock, how long have I got to get in there?
It's 90 minutes.
Sure.
It's going to be a 90-minute. We're going to do it just in one set,
So I've got to get there between 1 and 3:30.
2:30.
Oh, is that right? Is that 90 minutes?
Yeah.
Shit, I need to go back to school. So it's 1
Masters, get a
to
master's.
2:30. That's a pretty tight window, but how many people can fit in that preservation hall? Not that many.
About 17.
70.
No,
So it's,
no, I was saying 17.
17.
Like the band
It
plus
is.
one. No, it's very small. I think it's about 100 capacity.
Yeah,
Again, I
it's
don't remember
tiny.
the exact.
I mean, if there's no seating or anything, then you.
Yeah, they usually
can
have
fit a
some.
few.
They usually have some benches. I think they're kind of doing it where there's the usual some benches, some cushions on the floor. We've been talking about. I think we're gonna have the horn players in a corner behind the piano.
because it's pretty tight on the stage
Oh, it's
there, too.
extremely tight. I know they've had more
16.
people than that for some of their Midnight Preserve shows that they
Right.
do during Jazz Fest, where they have the midnight shows with tons and tons of special guests.
Hey, what does it cost to get into this No Babe show?
I know the advance tickets you can get for $15. You'd have to go to preservationhall.com, .org. Oh my
One of
God, I
those.
should know that. Or you can find it on Facebook. But yeah, there's different levels of tickets. I think, again, maybe having to do with general seating or standing room or what have you. But I know the advance tickets are discounted, so
Okay.
get them while they're hot.
All right, it sounds like it's going to be worthwhile. What's interesting, too, is that all these things that you do, you're a musician and you play at Pat O Brien's, and you're also the 2015 City Business Woman of the Year.
Wow.
Look at this. It's on my information sheet right here.
It's true.
What is that? How'd that happen?
Well,
City Business is a magazine.
That's a great publication.
Okay.
Yeah, I pick that up all the
yeah,
time.
All right.
they have a lot of, and they do
So
a lot
how
of.
did you get to be Woman of the Year?
Well, I was one of. They have a cohort every year.
Well, suppose there were 10 even, or 20 even, which I'm sure there are not. How do you even get to be one of them? What business are you in?
Well, I was in some ways a very odd fit, but someone nominated me partly with the thought of gaining visibility for the work I do. I work, I guess, on a pro bono basis by day with a nonprofit, which is what my master's thesis sort of turned into, which is it deals with all the ways that law and policy impact music and culture. So that deals a lot with the cultural economy, which is a lot of cultural businesses and musicians as small business people, and that's the element that was emphasized for city business.
So that's how you got to, because
But
you...
in some ways, that was a very, very unusual candidate, which, may be why they were intrigued by it.
That's because you're the program coordinator for the Music and Culture Coalition.
Correct.
Of New Orleans, MACCNO, which was Kermit Ruffin's thing. Did he start it, or was it...
No.
No.
He called a meeting in 2012, and then meetings then continued to happen every week at the same, every Wednesday at noon, and MACCNO eventually grew out of that. So he was, in some ways, the spark that lit the fire. But no,
Talking of blunt rap.
Kermit Ruffins is fantastic. I have always loved and appreciated him.
Well, he pulled all this thing together in the beginning. It was his...
He called a meeting because people were really angry. It seemed like there was a crackdown on live music. People really didn't know what to do, and so it was 100 and some people showed up to the bar that he used to own on Basin Street and sort of yelled for an hour, but then came back the next Wednesday, and there was this sense of, well, there's a lot of potential energy in this room. What can we do to capture it? And then I stood up at one point and said, hi, I'm a grad student. I'm studying music and law, which was true at the time. That's what I was going to write my thesis about. I want everyone to know my name and face because I'll hopefully be emailing you all for interviews. And someone in the back of the room said, do you want to lead these meetings? And I said...
That'll teach you to stand up.
Yes, seriously.
In a meeting.
And almost five going on 6 years later, my life is unimaginably different, and we've become sort of this...
So you're the person behind all these emails and press releases and things that MACCNO puts out, which is prodigious. There's a lot of stuff going on.
That's our executive director, Ethan Ellistad. He's usually the one actually writing them, but we're a staff of 3, so we're all generating that content.
Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
And thanks on behalf of everybody
totally
keeping
awesome.
the music alive, because that was
Thank you.
a sort of a fucked up situation, if you don't mind me saying. So that...
There's been several of those.
Yeah, and that was strange. That was the Landry administration when he first came in, remember? It was one of the first things he did was try and stop live music on Bourbon Street or on the street in the French Quarter.
We've gone a number of rounds on street performing. Unfortunately, street performers are legally very vulnerable, and there's a lot of misinformation about what you're allowed to do. So it's a continuing process with all that. So.
Sophie, yes?
Yes.
You going to say something?
No.
So, Shane, what's it like going to work with your family every day before we get out of here?
Ooh, it's fun.
It is?
We
Is it all family?
we
Is it
have
everybody?
8 family members. It's
8?
There's a lot of personalities, but
How did you get to be the president and CEO? Did you have to arm wrestle the other 7 guys?
No, it's been a long process, but my dad, his siblings, they've been working there for 30 to 40 years, and I think it just became a point where they said, the next generation is coming in, and we are, and let's do this now and try and figure it out. And that way, they're still working in the business while essentially we're being groomed, me and my 2 cousins, to work the business at their level for years to come.
So what are your other 2 cousins? What are their titles?
Well, I have my cousin Brett. He runs our logistics, our operations center, inventory, and then his younger brother, who came on just 2 or 3 years ago, he works in logistics. So they're handling the operations side of things, which is extremely important to our business.
Are you their boss?
Yes, but we really do see eye to eye on a lot of things, and we talk. And if we have any kind of conflicts, we really try to resolve them quickly. And
but you're the boss.
Solution.
You're the president and CEO.
I am. Yes.
Okay. And who else? So that's 3 of you. What about the other?
Well,
the others are older.
Everybody else is from the 3rd generation. So we're 4th generation.
Now you own Betting Plus as well, right? Cause
we do. Yeah.
That guy's on TV. Who was that?
My brother.
That's your brother.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Troy. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
He's the guy on Betting Plus.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So he runs that division of it.
That's right. He and my dad. Yep.
Okay.
So.
All right.
It's a lot of family members. Yeah.
No,
but it's a nice business. I mean, it's something that we've had for a long time, and we work hard every day, and we're passionate about it. So.
What's the competition
and you have to be.
like? Is it competitive?
Of course.
Who are you up against? Who are your competitors?
Oh, anybody from Amazon to Hurwitz Mintz.
Well, Amazon, are people buying furniture?
Yeah, they are. But
you buy a couch on Amazon.
People buy everything on Amazon.
I know, but would you really buy a
everything.
couch that you're going to have to? Don't you want to sit on it and see if it's comfortable before?
Yeah, where we're a little bit different is you are going to be handheld from start to finish. We're going to come to your house. We're going to pick out colors, whether it's leather or fabric or a certain size or dimension for a bedroom set or a living room or something, or curtains even. But we kind of take the reins and say, okay, you guide us, or we're going to guide you, but you show us what you like, what your
this is
interests.
all part of buying. So instead of I don't just go to the
it's
store.
very custom. It's very customized. Everything we do is very, like 85% of our business is very customized. So
Wow.
it's not
So if
just
I
going
go-
in and picking out a
Just-
sofa and like,
Right.
hey, I'll take one, or give me 2 of them. And I got one in the back, It's not like that. It's like, oh, well, my living room is a certain size, and I can only fit so many things, so
Right,
that there's
that's how
certain
it starts
requirements.
out,
And then, so it's about the scale, it's about color, it's about comfort.
So someone will actually, I go into Doerr Furniture
Mm-hmm.
and I talk to a salesperson on the floor, and I'm saying what I would say, which is I have this stupid sized room, it's too small, and there with the couches is I've been through this
Right.
already, and the couch, I can't find a couch that's small enough to go in there. Someone will come to my house then?
Yeah, and then we'll find a manufacturer to
What?
build something for you. Yeah.
For real?
Right in North
And I
Carolina.
don't have to be super wealthy.
No, you don't. No, that's why we
That's
try to fit
crazy.
from somebody who's just getting started with their career or having a family, or whether it's somebody that's, an empty nester now, and they're like, the furniture's all been destroyed
Right.
because the kids and the dogs and everybody's gone now. Let's buy something new and start over. So, yeah, all ages, all income levels. I think we are the last family-run furniture business in the city of New Orleans. Because
Yeah,
our
I would
competitor
believe
moved
that.
to Metairie a couple of
Como.
years ago, or Mintz. So, we pride ourselves on having high quality, really high quality goods, but that at all levels.
And does the salesperson who I'm talking to, actually that very person come to my house?
Yes.
So how does that work? If
Day
I
in
go
and day
to find
out.
me a sales guy
Well, we
and I go
have
to
a
work
certain
there,
set of rules. You first have to come to the store. We have to meet you at the store because
Yeah.
we want you to see what we have and then get an idea
Right.
and take notes and get it all down. And then we step out, we go to your house, and then we start the planning process.
But if I'm the sales guy and I'm working for you, then I go to work in the morning at 9 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and
Yeah.
I'm hanging out. Then I could just at some point be told to get in the car and go over to
If you're
Sophie
gonna,
Lafayette's
if you're gonna
apartment?
if you're gonna go to all the way to Destin, Florida, even.
Really? Is that for real?
Our furthest customer away has now been Baltimore. Yeah, we've gone to Baltimore, and the lady lives not too far from here, and her daughter was going to school, but she was furnishing an entire house.
Okay,
And
well,
so
that might
we-
be worth the trip to Baltimore, I suppose.
Yeah, it is.
But otherwise, if I'm a sales guy who works for you,
Yeah.
I can find myself in the car and going over to Sophie Lafayette's apartment.
Absolutely.
What an interesting gig. I had no idea.
Yeah.
That's pretty uncommon, I would say.
It is, but
Most people who work in stores, I wouldn't want them in my house.
Yeah, but when you have a staff that's average 10 to 15 years, you build such a rapport with customers and,
Right.
and people that kind of follow you through the years, and so it's fun. It's
Yeah,
good.
That's cool.
That's who we
good to
are.
know.
That's who we are.
Yeah.
So
That's
It's really
very
an
cool.
experience.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for telling us all about that, because now we know where to go. Doerr Furniture
thank you.
in the Maroney.
In the
Where
Marinade.
exactly is it? Just off of Frenchman Street. Isn't it?
914 Elysian Fields, and so the back of our store is on Frenchman Street.
All right. Handy. All right. If you need any furniture for your little drop-in pad up there.
I don't, but I actually am in the process of furnishing my house.
you serious?
Slowly but surely.
There it is.
I can hook
customer
you up.
number
Do you
one
know a
today.
guy? Do you know a guy?
I can hook you up.
Yeah?
I'm sure I can get you a discount.
I have
as
a
well.
customer at this table. Thank you.
It's all been worth it.
Oh, I'm mentally going through my house and thinking like, oh, what can I ask Shane about once we turn off the microphones? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I need that, I need this, I need that. Yeah, no, I've lived
It's
in
really
my
difficult.
house for about 6 years and I've owned it for a year and a half, but I'm only just starting to make it mine. So
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it can be really weird because you don't know what to buy, and it's some of the stuff that you like, it's too expensive. And
You know,
I know. Listen, if you
I
found
should
someone
have
who could
brought
help
this
you-
up earlier, and forgive me, but I know we're out of time. But we've been working with the Musicians Clinic for about 2 years now, supplying mattresses for musicians in, well, the surrounding area. So if somebody is with the Musicians Clinic and they truly need a mattress, and they have to go through a process, but we give them a mattress. We deliver it and set it up and everything for them. Because musicians have...
give it to them for free.
Yeah, and they've got...
Do you have to be like competent at playing the guitar, or could you just
the Musicians Clinic goes through the whole
you have
process.
you have to be part of the clinic?
Yeah.
Oh, good
yeah.
point.
And then they send us, they say, this person really does need a new mattress. They work 6-7 nights a week. They've got a family, but, they need a mattress. They need a good night's sleep. So,
Hannah, are you paying attention to this?
I'm writing to the people that need to know about this right now.
That's a great service, and you do that for free.
Yeah, and it's
Wow.
through WWOZ.
That's cool.
And the Musicians Clinic.
Right.
Yeah, and we've done it now
Wow.
for 2 years, and we're continuing it. It's been a process, but it's been wonderful because we've helped out a lot of people.
And you must
lot
be
of
able to get into a lot of gigs for free out of that, too.
No, we don't ask for anything in return.
You
but
don't ask to get on the list for these various people who
No,
are getting a
no.
good night's rest on a Doerr Furniture mattress?
No, not at all. It's just fun to be a part of the New Orleans experience and take care of our own. You know, it's
That is
taking care of
really
people
cool.
that are in your backyard.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Well, cool. Thanks for joining us, Shane.
thank you. Appreciate
That's
it.
Shane Mutter from Doerr Furniture, Sophie Lafayette from Tanzania, now
From
from New Orleans. Yeah.
Auckland, Tanzania, Scotland.
And Hannah Kreiger Benson from God only knows what, in the New Orleans Badass Bitch Experience, 2015's City Businesswoman of the Year, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we haven't even got to, and the piano player at Pat O Brien's.
Yes.
So there's a lot of ways to get to see you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us. That's been Happy Hour. For yet another week, the producer of our show is Graham DePonte. Our associate producer is Alison Moon. Christian Unruh is our music director, and Thomas Walsh is our technical director. Asher Griffith is the Facebook live feed director. Look at that moustache. I really like that look. We put this whole show on Facebook. Our fact checker and social media consultant is normally Andrew Searock, but he's absent today. Our theme music was written by and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show and you can stay upright for about an hour while drinking alcohol, drop us a line. Our address is on our website, itsneworleans.com, where you can find many other shows that we've recorded previously, also called Happy Hour, along with some other shows we make here. Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, live from Commander's Palace, Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tooker, and also our award-winning podcast about death, which is called Death the Podcast. You can also find other great Louisiana podcasts at It's Acadian. I'm not kidding about that Death the Podcast. It really is award-winning.
It's good.
Check it. It's good,
I
isn't
like
it?
it, yeah.
It's really interesting. Anyway, you can find other great Louisiana podcasts at itsacadiana.com and it's batonrouge.la, and you can get up with us on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and a bunch of other time-sucking social media as well. And all of it we're called It's New Orleans. You can find photos from this show on itsneworleans.com and on our It's New Orleans Facebook page. These photos are taken today by Jill Lafleur. You can find more photos and info about Jill at lafleurphoto.com. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, thank you for subscribing to us. Take a moment, if you've got one, to rate and review us. That helps other people find us. Our show was recorded live today at Wayfare on Ferret Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hours, a production of INO Broadcasting for itsneworleans.com. Andrew Duhon will be back here next week. Right now, he's somewhere in America. I think he's in Texas tonight. His new album is called False River, and you can find it on Spotify or anywhere else you actually steal or buy music. So thank you for joining us. I am Grant Morris. I'll be back here next week for more Happy Hour.
Venus, your style guide for fun, sexy style, is getting you ready for shorter days and cooler weather during the annual Venus Fashion Week event. The new Venus Fall Fashion Collection has arrived, and it's a perfect time to get amazing deals on new styles that have made Venus famous, from weekdays at the office to weekends on the town. Shop hundreds of new fall styles and get $15 when you spend $100, $30 off when you spend $150, and $50 off when you spend $200 or more. Just go to Venus.com or download the Venus app and use the promo code SWEATER to save during the last days of Venus Fashion Week.